Welcome to another exciting edition of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And today is, again, one of our favorite times where we can show you some treasures that you can definitely find out there, give you some little stories about it, and let you get some stuff on there going into the Christmas season. Why don't you take it away, Mr. Dash Magazine?
All right, here we go. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. We got some, $20, $30 items this week. But
Now you're heading into my territory.
It's a little competition there. But a couple years ago, I bought, I don't know if you remember, high-grade ring magazines. Mm-hmm. There was Joe Louis, Ali, tons of them from the 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. So, sadly, they don't fly off the shelves. But
and these were high grade, as I remember.
Very high grade. So I wanted to show you this one. This was up for 2.5 years, it looks like. High grade. Joe Louis. Covers clean, nice green, red, Christmas colors. I think I actually got like $18 for it.
So I guess this is one of those things. Isn't so much it is a bolo. Be on the lookout for, but it's be on the lookout for the other way. It's one of those things that you might think is more valuable than it is.
Yeah, don't overpay.
Yeah, on the ring magazine.
Yes.
So they do sell, and if you can buy them for $1 or $2, nothing wrong with turning $2 into 18. But if you're out there picking them up at $8 a piece, where are you going?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Picked up a Jet magazine collection a while back through the website. This is just one of the many, but they do sell, especially the older ones from the 60s. I'm sure you have some. I'll let you pronounce the name on this one because you're good at that stuff.
Abby Lincoln and Sidney Poitier.
There we go.
Guess who's coming to dinner?
$20, but yeah, they go for that. Some can go for more. It all depends, mailing label and so forth.
A nice thing about them too is they're compact basically, and it's a small envelope. It's a small piece of cardboard and all that. So your shipping supplies are a little cheaper shipping those out as well.
Exactly. All right, this is an autographed postcard. Now it didn't sell for much, but tell me why you think I sold this.
Because it's autographed and signed. Burleigh Grimes.
For 5 years. We've had it up for 5 years.
Oh.
I just saw it now.
Oh, now I know what you're getting at. I've heard that you had a nice collection of T206s and autographs up.
Very true, very true.
And this kind of ties into something or other that we've done a lot of videos on throughout the years. And there are a couple of different schools of thought on it. And I know we've talked about it in the past too, is you pick up a collection like that, and you were also under constraints with the estate and everything like that. You had to have them all listed.
Right.
But say that you picked that up, and you picked up a comic collection, and you picked up a Star Wars collection, and you had somebody that could be listing. I'm personally a big fan of listing 20 cards, 20 comics, 20 Star Wars.
Right.
Across.
Right.
Time goes on because it draws lots of people in.
Yep.
You can hit the critical mass in the cards, which is great, and you're selling more cards, but then you aren't having the people finding your currently listed comic books.
Yeah, 3 crowds coming in. You got Christmas around the corner. You got to hit them all.
Right, but this happens to be a special situation because of the issue with the estate. But yeah, that's great. You sold that, and it's been on for, like you said, years, and the only reason it is sold was because of that.
Yeah, cool. So it's football season. I don't know if anyone heard that, but
I've heard a rumor.
I bought a bunch of Super Bowl memorabilia a few years back.
Oh, wow.
Cups, tickets, pins, you name it, programs, and I finally took the time to organize it all. It took forever to sort them out in lots by Super Bowl year. Probably wasn't worth the time involved, but nevertheless, some finally sold. This is just one of the many. Super Bowl 16, you get some cups, a pin, and a gold ticket. So we got a lot of different ones over the years. If you're looking for certain years, we have them up there in lots.
It's kind of an interesting idea, though, too. I mean, somebody's a Bengals fan, somebody's a 49ers fan.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to sell one cup or one pin?
Yeah,
no,
definitely not worth doing that. Yep.
Exactly.
And that's another thing that we've come up with as well, talked about. We've got videos up about it, too. When do you lot? And this is the absolute perfect time to lot. Because you go and you put one of the cups up. What are you going to put it up at? $5?
$5.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a plastic cup,
Yeah,
Where
and
are you going?
how long is it going to take to sell? By the time you find it, you store it. Yes, you're leaving a little bit of money on the table doing it this way. But who cares?
Oh,
it's gone
I'm happy
because
the guy bought 4 lots, so he spent $100.
Oh,
so
that's very nice. Yep.
absolutely. All right, this was another deal through the website. I bought a Soho News collection. Very rare. I think they're all New York City based. They're like newspaper styles. But I think John Belushi sold this one most likely. I'm thinking, but $60.
And again, that's not something you see regularly. I'm sure I've never heard of Soho News before, but it probably was only New York metro area, I would think.
Yeah, Soho Bagel maybe, but not Soho.
Yeah, right, they gave it away free with a bagel.
Yeah,
Free with a bagel.
Exactly. So these I compiled over the course of time because I buy wrestling belts, and the cases that come in them got lost. So I put them all together. I had a lot of 8 of these wrestling cases for the big full-size belts, and they went for $100. I'm not arguing with that.
No,
It
no.
was basically thrown in a corner. They got a $100 bill out of it.
Yeah, say, what would you have done with them otherwise?
Right, exactly. So if you ever see these, though, they do go for $10 to $20 a piece. I lotted them out for a little less.
Right, but they're gone, and that's the whole key. They're gone.
All right, lastly, now you would think this is something that Papergoy would be discussing. I don't even remember buying this, but it did sell. Cleanso Throat and Nasal Atomizer. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right.
Indeed you did.
Vintage glass metal. We listed it less than a year ago. So, but I don't recall ever seeing it, but I must have for my employee to list it. But it went for like $20.
Yeah, and that's just one of those neat. And it's in box too, I believe, and everything like that. So that's just kind of a neat little thing that you're out there, you see anything vintage like that in a box, you pick it up for $1 or $2 at a sale.
Sure.
You're going to make money on it, and believe it or not, you can find stuff like that at sale. I mean, obviously somebody found it, and you found it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wasn't
not
that?
Complaining.
Wait, didn't I give that to you for Christmas last year?
It could be. Is that why it was used?
I know. And that's why you listed it on the 3rd of January. You couldn't even.
Exactly. I couldn't wait.
All right, we got some interesting things over here on my end as well. Next is a magazine. It's a common magazine, Delineator. The reason why I remember this is I remember where I got it from. I bought from another dealer, and at the time, it was a lot of money that I was spending. I was paying $3 each on magazines, which back 8-10 years ago was a lot of money for me to spend on magazines. And he had picked up a big collection of Delineator and Ladies Home Journal, I think, all from the 1930s. And I went and I bought them all, paid $3 a piece for them, and I think I ended up selling all of them for $12 to $15 each plus shipping back then. And I was happy about it because I was making money on it. There were a few dupes in there, and the dupes ended up out in the garage. And when I was sorting through the garage, I found it. Now, I got $28 for it, free shipping. So, but basically what this shows is I would have charged $5 shipping back in a day. We've talked about how we've raised our prices throughout the years. I would have gotten $19 for this back 8-10 years ago. I got $28 out of it. But it's also a better listing. I have the table of contents up. I mentioned Art Deco cover, which was the whole key. It was a beautiful cover. I would not even have mentioned that 10 years ago.
Did you scan them back then?
I would have done scanning. This was actually a picture using the, what do you call it, the Caesar scanner.
Gotcha,
so it was a full picture as opposed to a
sure.
smaller picture of the cover, all that sort of thing. Taking the time, and this is just beautiful because, again, I would have sold one of these back in the day, and I would have gotten $8 to $10 less out of it with a poorer listing. So this just shows that if you take the time to do a quality listing, you end up getting more money. And it's just kind of funny because this is from that exact collection. Next thing we've got over here, on the St. Lawrence newspaper, no big deal, $21. Nothing special going on. But this is one of those that I kind of like because I got an email after the fact from the person that bought it that said that their father, I guess it was actually born a couple of weeks prior to this in that area.
Wow.
And they couldn't believe that I had a newspaper from that area when he was, 2 weeks old or whatever it happened to be. And those are stories that I absolutely love. And that's the beauty of eBay. They never, ever, ever would have found it unless they happened to have been in that area. Maybe somebody in an antique show would have had one of those. But here they're sitting in Atlanta or wherever they're sitting at. They're able to buy something from where their father was born at a couple of weeks after his birth. So it just makes me happy when I see that kind of stuff. Yes, obviously we're all doing it for the money. We're all doing it for a living. We're all doing it, for that. But it's nice when a positive story like that comes out of it as well. People are more than willing to share those stories with you as well. They'll email you, hey, I bought this because. And it's kind of interesting to read a lot of times.
Sure.
The next thing is another one that a quality listing that I would not have done years ago. Went for $30. Duke, your turn to pronounce something.
Kana Hanamoku. Yeah.
He's actually a famous Hawaiian surfer, I believe.
Okay.
And he's actually, there's a little article in there about him, and I probably, I would not have known who he was 10 years ago, But B, I would not know when to put him right there on the listing. And I got $30 out of it, put a picture up the table of contents, put a picture up of him in the article as well.
Sure.
And, picked up $30 out of a magazine that years ago I would have gotten 15 out of. So again, going through the magazines definitely is paying off. Next one's kind of interesting.
Oh, wow, nice. Good
Little
job.
first issue here. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
and we've talked in the past there, you definitely want to mention first issues.
Yeah.
They do sell, people do collect them, and this actually sold overseas, so even though I give free shipping, I end up getting paid shipping on it as well. So I took $75 on it is what I ended up taking on it. With the shipping, ended up being $100. So can't argue with that over there. Sputnik, Rocket, Space Race. I mean, just kind of a neat little magazine.
Yeah, loaded mag.
Yep, and multiple pictures and all that as well.
Sure.
Next one over here is kind of interesting as well. Brewery Union membership book. I took $25 on it. It's got the dues stamps. People who collect Union do it as well, but I sat and I listed in the Breweriana category. I believe eBay was telling me to list it in the Union category, the fraternal group Union.
Yeah.
And I said, there's probably more people who collect brewery stuff than there are people that collect Union stuff. And the Union people can find it as well. I mean, I listed Union right there, Brewery Union. So that way, if you were searching on Union, you could find it as well.
Right.
It's kind of neat, though. It's got all of the membership due stamps that they put in there. So there are people that collect that stuff as well. So it's one of those kind of neat, and I even noted that there. Quick question for you. Did you ever play Monopoly growing up?
Absolutely.
Remember there were the 4 railroads?
Yep.
One of them was that one right over there?
Reading, PA. Yeah.
How do you say it?
Reading, PA. Reading?
Believe it or not, it's Reading.
Oh,
I didn't know that. I learned that about a month ago as well. Everybody, Reading Railroad, it's Reading. There we go. You learn something new every
$200,
day.
they probably expect you to pronounce it right. When
You would
you're
think.
buying that,
That is true. That is true. And last over here, and this is an
Wow.
interesting thing over here. I learned something or other when I listed this. Well, we learned a couple of different things. I was at the flea market and I picked up a couple of Red Book magazines. This one and a different one from the same year. This one had Dr. Seuss, the other one did not. I listed the other one at $22.20. I listed this one at $122.20. Multiple people emailing me, did you make a mistake in your price? And I said, yes, I did. It's a first print of Dr. Seuss. I probably underpriced it.
Exactly.
Which probably is not what they wanted to hear. Somebody ended up buying it for $100. I did have a couple of people heckling me on the price, but as I told them, it is a first print Dr. Seuss. You're not going to find that out there. I Terapeaked it, none in the last year. I went online, tried to find it, couldn't find any. I very well may be low on my price.
Yeah.
But I put it up for 122. I think I took an offer of 100 on it. And the funny thing is, the person that bought it said, well, I actually was interested in, there's the VJ Day up on the cover. That's what they claimed they were interested in. And I'm like, well, you paid a lot of money for that.
Exactly.
I said, but hey, you got a Dr. Seuss first. And something kind of interesting there, when I was doing some research, and this is why I don't maximize my time or my money on eBay, because I end up doing lots of research and getting into the whole rabbit hole of different stories and all that stuff, and then I come back and go, it took me 25 minutes to list that. Why is that? It's probably why you're never going to hire me as a lister. But apparently there were 8 to 12 different issues of Red Book from the 1950s that all had Dr. Seuss's. They were all firsts.
Wow.
A couple of them they took and they changed the characters a little bit. I believe, in fact, this Tad and Todd, if I remember right, they ended up being like Thing 1 and Thing 2, if I remember right.
Wow.
So he kind of had his ideas, printed them up, and then he kind of changed them later on.
Cool.
Well, a lot of people had forgotten that he had done these. So somebody rediscovered it back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and reprinted all of these together in a Dr. Seuss collection.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So these are very, very difficult, and most people don't know that they're there in the Red Book magazines. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't in every issue of the year or anything like that. It just, but if you do go out and you see Red Books, somebody's got them from the early 1950s. Definitely take a look for the Dr. Seuss. Definitely very rare, and hopefully you find them and you list them for $220 and you get it out of there, and then just heckle me below and say you gave yours away. But kind of interesting thing there, and something or other to take keep an eye out for, especially because not everyone has it. So it's something or other. You can be more advanced than a lot of other people. They'll just walk by the red books and say, "Oh, the guy wants $5 each in red books. That's insane." You'll know enough to take them, look through them, and go, "Oh, Seuss. Yeah, I'll take these 3 for $5 each." So good luck to you out there, and we'll see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.